The crisp autumn air filled my lungs as I strolled through the quiet neighborhood, my loyal companion, Max, a golden retriever, trotting alongside me. The fading daylight cast long shadows on the streets, and the setting sun painted the sky with a dark orange hue. It was a peaceful evening. Just like any other, or so I thought. As we reached the corner of Elmwood Avenue, I noticed a peculiar figure standing by a van parked on the side of the road. He was a middle-aged man, wearing a worn-out jacket and a beanie pulled low over his forehead. Something about his demeanor sent a chill down my spine, but I tried to shake off the unease, thinking it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. "Hey there, boy," the stranger called out with a forced cheerfulness, his voice strangely melodic, almost hypnotic. "What a beautiful dog you have. Would you mind bringing him over here for a moment?" I tightened my grip on Max and instinctively took a step back. My heart began to race, and I felt my body tensing up. I didn't like the idea of getting closer to this man and his van. But politeness held me in place. "I'm sorry, sir," I replied nervously, "but we need to get going. Maybe some other time." The man's smile widened, revealing a set of yellowing teeth. "Come now, young man. I've got some treats for your dog. He looks hungry, doesn't he?" Max perked up at the mention of treats, his tail wagging excitedly. But the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. This situation felt increasingly off, and I knew I should trust my instincts. "No, thank you," I insisted, my voice faltering slightly. "He's not hungry. And we really need to get home now." The stranger's smile faltered for a moment, but then he composed himself and took a step closer to me. "Look, I understand your concern," he said in a softer tone, "but I assure you, I mean no harm. I just thought your dog could use some treats. That's all. Why don't you come closer, and I'll show you." Despite his attempts to appear friendly, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. My gut told me to get out of there, and fast. I swallowed hard and took another step back, pulling Max closer to me. "I appreciate the offer," I said, trying to sound as polite as possible, "but we really have to go. Maybe next time." The man's demeanor shifted, his pleasant facade giving way to frustration. "Listen, kid," he said, his voice suddenly stern, "I'm just trying to do something nice here. You wouldn't want to be rude, would you?" Now, alarm bells were ringing loudly in my head. The stranger's true intentions seemed all too clear now, and I had to act quickly. I turned on my heel and began walking briskly away, trying not to look back. I could hear the man's footsteps behind me, and my heart pounded in my chest. "Come back here," he shouted, his voice filled with anger. "Don't you dare walk away." Ignoring his demands, I quickened my pace, clutching Max's leash tightly. Fear gripped my entire being. And I could feel tears of panic welling up in my eyes. I was too scared to look back and see if the man was still pursuing us. Thankfully, we were close to our street. I fumbled for my keys as we reached our house, practically diving inside and locking the door behind us. Panting and trembling, I hugged Max tightly, grateful that we were safe. As the adrenaline slowly subsided, I realized how dangerous that encounter had been. I reported the incident to the police, describing the man and his van as accurately as I could. They assured me they would keep an eye out for him. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every little noise outside made me jump. I couldn't stop replaying the encounter in my mind, wondering what could have happened if I had let my guard down for a moment longer. All of a sudden I heard tapping on my window. My room in on the second story, meaning someone would have had to climb the tree outside my window in order to imitate the sound that was being produced. Hesitantly I slowly got out of bed and walked towards the window. The last thing I remember was hearing a really loud bang, even maybe a gunshot. Whatever it was followed by a huge crashing sound, and then I went unconscious. To be continued.